Hey everybody, it's Jack and Klee from Stomping Ground, and we're here to talk about being an engaging facilitator and building community on Zoom. Klee, let's get into it.
Let's do it. The first thing we're going to talk about are 5 tips to success on Zoom. This all comes down to bringing the juice. Up first is J. J stands for just keep it moving.
We can't stress enough. On Zoom, things get a little bit weird. Kids aren't sure what they're getting into. Normally at camp, kids have been there before. There's a lot of kind of built-in understanding of what to do. And so you don't have to quite be as assertive as on Zoom. On Zoom, the key really is it starts with making sure you're comfortable and taking the lead in all those situations. So if you're not sure, you're like, should I jump in? Should I let this go? Start. Do something and move the conversation forward. You can always pause. 3 things I like to do is just keep talking, go, whoa, that's 1. Stop for a second, rehash what happened, and then get started again. Second thing I like to do, look to my co-facilitator that might be on and say, hey, Klee, where were we on this one? Gives me a break to then come back and get started with the next activity and allows us to keep moving. Third thing, when I really am a little bit off kilter, but I know we've got to keep moving because we can't slow down, Zoom's got to keep moving, is I like to go to breakout rooms. So I'll pause and I'll say, all right, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to breakout rooms for 1 minute, and I want you to discuss who is the best superhero in the Marvel universe or something that's on topic for what you're talking about. But you need those tricks so you can keep things going, because you probably have a lot of tricks that you've used as a counselor at camp, and they're a little different on Zoom. But the key still is to keep things moving, be assertive, and not be afraid to be in control. So that's J. U is you need a plan, all right? Just like at camp, the activities work best when we know what's going to happen next. I know that it's not going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes. Things aren't going to go exactly according to plan. But when you have the plan, you then can work through it and know what's going to happen next. And maybe even more importantly, your co-facilitator, your co-counselor also knows what's going to happen next so they can help things moving along. What we like to do is, I know I'm going to run for an hour. I'll put together what's going to be my intro question, what's the kind of body of the activity. We're going to lead a cooking class. I'm going to put through each step. And then at the end, what's my closing? And the other thing that Klee taught me is at the end, you just toss in something that if things are going short, you can just do that. It's a little game. It's a different way to frost the cookies. It's whatever might be happening in that activity.
Up next is I. I is for interest in the kids. This means that during downtime or while you're working on an activity, you're still communicating, asking kids questions about themselves, have a list of possible icebreaker or conversation topics to keep communication going throughout the kids. And this really helps them foster connection with you and other kids on the call.
And we talked about this in the other video, but you know that the objective of these is to really build community. And so having interest in the kids, giving them a chance to talk, is the #1 way that we feel like we can build community with our kids.
And up next is C. Jack, this one stands for crush it. Jack, what does crush it really mean?
Klee, crush it means we're going to bring the juice, we're going to bring the energy, we're just going to bring it. The thing about Zoom is, if I come to you at 100% on Zoom, you're still only getting 70%, maybe 60% of that energy, because the screen kind of like steals all of that. There's weird technology involved. I don't know. We can call Elon Musk. We'll figure it out. But the thing is, you got to bring the energy. You got to bring a costume, maybe. Come on, brand. A little bit of a strange prop goes a long way. What do you have around? I had some sunglasses and a little guitar ready to go. Took my roommate's hat, and all of a sudden I've got a brand new activity, just bringing a little bit more energy. You can do that, and the kids need that. Now, it's going to be a little different in each activity, right? You don't need to come with some kind of 1,000% energy if you're leading an activity like creative writing. But maybe you could wear a sport coat and paint on a mustache, and you've got yourself a costume, and you can come with a little bit of a funny accent and move forward, right? Crushing it is just like at camp. How can you bring a little bit of something special to the activity? Because Zoom can be boring. You've been on a million Zoom calls where it's just people kind of blah, 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 and you need that juice, you need that energy to go along with keeping it moving, bringing a plan, and being interested in the kids. Klee, what's the E in juice?
E is for extra narration. On Zoom, there's less opportunity for kids to follow your lead since they have less nonverbal cues. So it's extra important as the facilitator to give them extra narration when it comes to giving instruction or step-by-step examples. It might mean that if you're leading a drawing activity, you tell them exactly what to do. Instead of just saying, let's get ready to draw, you're going to say, to get ready to draw, I'm picking up my pen, I have my piece of paper in front of me, and I'm going to start by drawing a circle on my piece of paper. Pause, then show your example.
I love that. And if you're leading with somebody and they're moving through instructions, just do the same thing for them. So Klee says, all right, we're going to start to draw. I can say as the co-facilitator, Klee, awesome. So what you mean is I'm going to pick up my pen and my paper and I'm going to start drawing. So it should look like this. Great. And you can just rehash what the person in front of you said so that the kids keep that understanding with that extra narration. You might think that it sounds a little bit weird the first time you do it, but I promise you it'll save so much misunderstanding, so much headache later to do a little bit of extra narration. It's kind of like bringing the energy and being more assertive. There's not too much you can do. You can always tone that back, but you can't turn that up if you miss it at the beginning, right? So, Klee, you said juice. Just keep it moving. You need a plan. Be interested in the kids. Crush it. And have that extra narration.
That's it. Great. Next up, we're going to be talking about the 3-step process to building community on Zoom. The first one is all about setting the tone. Kids logging on don't really know what to expect. Online programs are new to all of us, and so we have to do the best job we can of letting kids know exactly what our expectations are and what the hidden curriculum is. Hidden curriculum refers to the unspoken rules and norms in any given situation.
Awesome. So you're trying to take those unspoken norms and get them out loud so everybody's on the same page.
That's right.
What are some examples of what that looks like?
In introduction, setting expectations and outlining the hidden curriculum might sound like this. Hi, everybody. Welcome to baking. I'm Klee, and I'm going to be the staff member in charge of this session. What's going to happen is I'm going to lead us in an introduction to get to know each other better. During this introduction, we'll all stay on mute to eliminate any background noise, and I will go first and share. There's an order in the chat so you know who will be going next. And once I go, the next person will go, and we will all answer the question that is, what is your favorite dessert? I will do this as an example. I'm Klee, and my favorite dessert are brownies. Then we would follow the list in the chat. Everybody would share, and then I might say, thank you everybody for participating in the introduction. Now we're going to get started with baking our cupcakes. I'm going to send the recipe in the chat for reference and give us step-by-step instructions. When you have a question, you can put your hand like this, and I'll be sure to call on you.
Klee, that was awesome. What I loved a lot about that is that you showed interest in the kids. All the kids were going to get a chance to talk. You were very assertive, setting a plan in motion about what was going to happen. And I think a lot of times those are the two things that we really need to keep things moving as a part of the juice. Okay, Klee, you said this was a 3-step process.
That's right.
Step 1 is setting the tone. Step 2,
get kids talking.
Getting kids talking allows the community, which is the goal of this whole activity, this whole thing, to move forward, right? You can watch videos like this or a million really highly produced videos online, and kids have access to that stuff too. So what we try and do through these Zoom virtual camp programming is to really focus not on just delivering information, but getting kids to be participating and building relationships with each other and with you. Some ways to do that, like Klee said, get the introductions going. Playing games that encourage interaction. A lot of times those games, might be getting kids actually talking, and sometimes you can start that by just interacting a little bit via the video, right? So really quick, you could play a game like Beastmaster that doesn't get kids talking at first, but gets them interacting. The way Beastmaster works is really simple, right? You're the facilitator, you're gonna be the Beastmaster. You can throw up one of 3 different animals: bear, bunny, snake. Bear, bunny, snake, right? You're gonna close your eyes, make a funny noise, and then throw up a symbol. At the same time, all the participants will also throw up a symbol. If they have the same symbol as you, then they are out. They close their video for the time being. Then they'll turn their video back on at the end once everyone goes through. So it could look something like this. So then Klee would still be in, and we move on to the next round. Awesome. So that's Beastmaster, one way to start that interaction, which then can lead to some conversation about that game, or just get kids a little bit comfortable with a different platform. Finally, another way to get kids talking. If you have too many kids on the call, there can be chatter all over the things, and it doesn't give kids a lot of chance to actually talk to each other. So one way to make that easier is to use breakout rooms. As the host of the call, you can send kids with staff to breakout rooms, then have smaller discussions. 3 kids, 5 kids, 6 kids. If you've got 100 kids on the call, obviously they can't all talk to each other, right? So use the breakout rooms with a prompt question, and I like to send people to the breakout rooms and make sure that there's someone who's facilitating the conversation in that breakout room around things like, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? If you could have a superpower, what would it be? If you ran Yankee Candle, what would your candle that you had want to smell like? Mine would be fish. I love fish.
And the third step to building community on Zoom is building and bringing traditions together. These include traditions that are familiar to your campers from in-person programs over the summer. For instance, having props that are recognizable. This is a candle we use a lot at camp during Embers, which is the time of the day that we reflect and have discussions together. Keeping this on a call helps them feel more connected to the camp community, and developing new traditions together on Zoom also helps build that online community. Making up songs, having nicknames for each other, all of these things help build tradition, which helps build community.
That's awesome. So Klee, you're telling me we went through 2 big ways to build community and to facilitate an awesome session on Zoom. And the juice is just keep it moving. You need a plan. Interest in the kids, crush it, and have a little extra narration. So we bring the juice, and then what's the last 3 things?
We build community on Zoom by setting the tone, getting kids talking, and building and bringing traditions together.
Boom, bring in the juice. We got the 3-step plan, and we're ready. Now here's the thing. This isn't going to be exactly like camp because we're in these weird computer screens, but it's what we can do right now to make a real impact in the lives of these kids. They need you this summer, maybe more than ever. And your goal this summer is to keep kids safe, give them something fun, and give them a chance to really talk to each other. The community building is at the core of what we're doing. It's at the core of why we bother to spend the time to build these weird virtual camps that seem like maybe we're in some kind of weird science fiction movie. It's worth it, and it matters. What you're gonna do this summer has a chance to really give these kids something special and a connection back to a place that they love so much. You're awesome.